this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called this, you may ask? So I'll tell you. Accept meaning of angel is messenger, and accept meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I do like working with angels, the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Melisa Keenan. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to both of us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Rae, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy. And I'm a guide who helps remember your divine presence so that you can heal your past, find your purpose, create your future to expand your consciousness, understand your spiritual path, get clarity on your next steps, and take charge of your destiny so that you can fulfill your purpose in this lifetime. Now, each episode of the show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation like angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Melisa Keenan, about Be Priestess, Goddesses, and Heavenly Mother. Now, Melisa is a six-time international and USA Today bestselling author, as well as being the founder of Hope, which is Heart Open Publishing Enterprise that is rooted in integrity, transparency, and community. Melisa believes her clients' book idea and vision are sacred and should be created and shared with the highest level of care. The Hope team values the client's story as their most powerful asset, containing unique healing codes they alone can convey. When Melisa isn't sprinkling magic in her work, you will find her barefooted in her backyard with bees or playing with her husband and their 4 children on their hobby ranch in North Nevada. Now, with testimonials such as, Melisa is such a powerful woman. I was an author in one of the books where she was the publisher. Her expert guidance helped all the authors get their powerful stories out into the world. I love Melissa's ability to have deep conversations with vulnerability and integrity. She is a phenomenal leader, and I highly recommend that you connect with her and find a way to work together. And Melisa is incredibly intuitive and in touch with herself as well as others. She's able to hold a space and listen in a way that ensures you feel both heard and held. Working with her is a joy and a pleasure. So without further delay, hello, Melisa, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much. What a beautiful introduction.
Ah, you're welcome. So before we get into this conversation, I want to remind everyone watching that not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Melisa and I want to be part of this conversation. So please don't be shy and say hello. So Melisa, why don't you tell us more about your journey of being a Mormon, finding out you have a heavenly mother, the goddesses, and being called by the bees?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here because these are just the things that light up my soul. Like my whole heart right now is just like, oh, like I suppose that I haven't had a lot of opportunities to share publicly this journey, and it's very near and dear to my heart. I joined the Mormon church when I was 18, and I was raised Christian. I was raised, just believing that there was a heavenly Father, a male God, and Jesus. And joining the church, there's this very subtle but persistent belief that there's a mother in heaven as well, that there's a partner to God, and that she is also a goddess, and that she loves us. And initially I think I just kind of didn't it was so far away, it was so foreign, I didn't really pay attention to it until probably about 10 years ago, um, when I started to really think, wait a minute, like, we believe this? Like, I think that the LDS faith is the only Christian faith that believes that there could be a female deity of any kind. Unfortunately, in the church, there's several different narratives that teach that, like, kind of she needs to be protected or veiled somehow. And so you're not meant to pray to her. You're not meant to like teach anything about her. There's like very little known about her. She shows up in like 2 different places officially. Um, and so it's kind of like, for the women, in my experience, it's kind of like you have this heavenly mother, and ultimately your goal is to become like her, but you don't really get to know who she is or what she's like, or and you only know everything about Jesus and Heavenly Father and how to pattern your own life after them. But they're male in this belief system, and so you're left with like major gaps. I felt just major gaps all the time. We started having children very young. I got married very young as well, all informed by our faith. And being a mother, and interesting enough, in my own journey, my relationship with my earthly mother is very strained, and we've had a very difficult go at it, and she's had a very difficult life and was unable to raise me. From 12 to 18, I moved in with an aunt and uncle, and so my own relationship with my earthly mother was very difficult, when to the point that when I had my first child, my mom was going through some major difficulties, and while I was pregnant, she was able to be there and was present, but slowly I was like, her life is, I cannot have her in my space. And so she didn't meet my firstborn until maybe 6 months to a year after she was born. And I just had to enforce some boundaries and things. So, when you have your first child and you're stepping into this role as like creator, like I just created another human being, and I'm in this co-creation partnership with a husband, and I'm also like major initiation into womanhood, and what does it mean to be a woman as opposed to being a girl, like, or a teen, and not really knowing myself. And I was 21, I think, when she was born. And then I also have this heavenly mother who is like, who is she? And I don't know what I'm doing. That was like the big theme constantly. I was like, where's the manual? I don't know what I'm doing. As a wife, as a mother, as a woman, I was in college, and I was like making these big decisions about, like, do I want to be a stay-at-home mom, or do I want to continue to pursue a career, or like, what do I do? And, just experienced that gap a lot, which created a lot of depression, anxiety, just was very, very challenging as a new mother. So that kind of catalyzed my search. Almost, it's funny because I have been an orphan by my own heavenly earthly parents, but then feeling kind of orphaned by this like heavenly mother who was there, but I'm not allowed to talk to her. I didn't know, all of those kinds of things, and the pain that and the gap that created is really what catalyzed my whole journey.
Yeah, I think most of most women here will or fathers as well, but no one teaches you about being a parent. There is no sort of like manual, is there? It's like, oh my God, I've now got to work out what I'm doing. And that for there. So how so you've had your first child, and you're lost, you're confused, and you're not quite sure. How did you get onto the next step of actually, did you do you get that motherly support before your next child, or were you still searching for it at the time?
I was still searching big time. And thankfully, like, therapists, 12-step recovery programs. Like a lot of that was a big part of my life. And somewhere along the way, someone introduced the idea that, like, what are the things that you're missing by not having a mother? Like, what roles do you wish were being fulfilled right now? And then go out and find a woman who would joyfully fulfill that role. And so that was kind of the beginning. It was like, oh, okay, if I can't have like my mother, which honestly I think we should all do this, because culture puts way too much pressure on a single mother. She's supposed to be all and do all, and like, it's insanity, right? So we really should all do this. But it was sort of just like, oh, okay, I can have a mother buffet of like, sweet Marcia that lived down in the next apartment over from us would come over and share stories with me, and she loved to watch my kids, and she would bring them gifts and things, and then this another woman named Lynette, she was really there for me with struggles with my marriage, and just would be this loving guide, and was never there to judge me, and was always just so kind. And, and then like reaching out to some of my husband's family, I remember calling his grandmother. So it's my children's great grandmother. And I said, do you know how to can jam? Because I remembered my mom as a kid used to always make this tomato jam. And I couldn't get my mom to get it together enough to come and teach me how to make the jam. And I wanted it. Like, my inner child was like, the greatest gift you can give me is tomato jam. And who's ever even heard of tomato jam, right? And this was just before it became really common to be able to search stuff up on the internet. Like, we didn't have that yet. And so I called her up, and she's like, well, I've never made tomato jam. So I searched out a recipe, and I'm like, if you can give me the jamming skills, I can bring the recipe and we can bring this thing together. And we did. And so it was sort of this like piecing together from different women of what I needed in a mother, because as a grown woman, I still needed a mother,
Yeah.
And still kind of feeling like I feel like probably my first child, second child, which we had 2 years later, third child, which we had another 2 years after that, I felt this victimhood as a mother. And I look back, probably some of that was because I was just so dang young having children.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it.
I was such a baby, and my husband was still such a baby. Like, financially, we did not have things figured out. Like, just so many elements of that, of like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I do recall this moment after I had my third child, and actually my husband and I were going through tremendous difficulty at this time. And I remember exactly where we were standing and everything. And all three kids were crying at once, 4, 2, and 0. And having this moment of like, I felt like this mantle, like, I know what I'm doing. And I'm the only person who is perfect for the job of being these 3 children's mother. And that was so meaningful to me and precious, like, to the point that I really remember. It was just like such an ordinary like moment, but something happened internally for me. And so I think this pursuit of understanding like the goddess and stuff, it started out with Faces of Ordinary Women, and also me coming more fully into myself. Which ultimately then led to, even further pursuit of if there is a heavenly mother, or maybe she's like a earthly mother, or she's like a, who knows, right? Exactly what she is. But this idea that I could sort of shop around to begin to understand who she was. And recognizing, oh my gosh, there's actually all these threads of amazing, glorious people. Like, my first kind of toe dip into that was Joan of Arc, and really like studying and understanding Joan of Arc, which wasn't a goddess. I mean, now the Catholic Church has deemed her a saint, but before that, they burned her first. And
exactly.
like, but like this just heroic, amazing woman who it was like, oh, there's parts of her that like I see in me, and there's parts of her that I want to have more of, and I want to understand, like, how did she access this communion with the angels, and how on earth did she command a huge army of men and like have all these like negotiations with royalty, and all the things that she did were just so amazing. And that was kind of my toe dip in. And then it was like, oh wait, like this helps me understand who the goddess is. And then boy, then it just goes deeper and deeper, doesn't
Oh
it?
yeah, that's the thing, you know. Once you start on these paths, it's kind of like it just takes you deeper and deeper, and you never ever get off. It's like once you start that journey, that's it. You're there for, you could be screaming to let me out. You're never ever going to get out of it. But I love what you said about where you looked around for other figures, because we've so much lost that, where we don't have those communities anymore, because you used to have those communities where all the women would look after all the children, so that you'd have all those different aspects, which then would lead on to the children having a greater understanding and wisdom. So I love the way that you were able to figure that out, to actually go, actually, there are loads of women around me that could help me. I just need to reach out and ask,
Yeah.
and they're more than happy to actually share their experience. So it's really beautiful that you connected with those women at the time, and
Yeah,
that.
I'm so, so grateful. And you know, truth be told, I've never still felt a sense of fullness around community. And I still think that it's something that I don't have all the answers to, and I crave more of. And I don't think anyone really fully has it figured out yet, because one of the things that the Mormon church is really well known for is their strong sense of community and camaraderie among, you know, the members and stuff. And I still feel that, you know, when I was fully active as a Mormon, there was still this sense of like, I don't know, loss. And I think it's due to, in huge part, due to the patriarchy, which has taught
Yeah,
us, again, this like perfectionism and things like that. So, like, as long as you have a bunch of women who feel empty and are trying to prove themselves coming together in community, you end up with a lot of clashes and like
yeah,
hurt and, you know, stuff like that. And so I think that, yeah, maybe there's some systemic things um, in our modern societies that need to kind of be examined, our beliefs about who we are and stuff like that, in order for us to actually show up in true like village community mentality with each other. But nevertheless, I sort of created my own, whether they knew it
you
or
did.
not. I had these heartstrings out to these like, and I would just journal, and like, I'm so grateful for this woman who has stepped up into this area where I felt a gap and has come and like provided this balm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. So you put your toe in, and you went, "Ooh, okay, there's more to this than I thought." So what happened next?
Yeah. So then, like I said, then it was like taking that little like thing with my ladies that I know and kind of superimposing onto all these different goddess type figures throughout history, which felt like I've listened to a lot of work by Mandy Green, and she's a scholar on Mary Magdalene, and um, she talks about like pulling on a thread, and because so much of what we know about goddess worship is puzzle pieces half put together, we can't really get the full picture because it was literally so long ago. Like we just have these little pieces, and truthfully, so much I think was blotted out. Like I've come to a place in myself where I believe that even you know, a work like the Bible, which I'm sure people were greatly inspired in writing, but I think a lot was eliminated from the Bible.
Mm.
to continue to project the patriarchal narrative. And really, the Jewish tradition is quite patriarchal oriented. And so even the beginning of the Old Testament, it has this very patriarchal theme straight from the beginning. So then you have to kind of ask, like, well, what was beyond that? But yeah, I went, I think my first, like I said, kind of touch was Joan of Arc, and just how much that enriched me as a person and helped me reflect on myself. And then it was Mary Magdalene. And I still feel this very like relationship with Mary Magdalene, and like this oftentimes will feel like a kind of a pull by her. That's part of why I feel like I need to go to France at the end of this year. But this that maybe she was more than what we thought she was, or than what the accepted texts say that she was, and kind of going down that journey, and like, well, then who was she? And then where was she trained? And how did she come into a fullness of knowing who she was? And, all of that, which then led to a bunch more like goddesses and lineages, and kind of recognizing too that there's actually a lot of texts that we've found that go way before the Bible. And I mean, someone listening might think, well, duh, but like from a Christian perspective, I did not know. I truly thought the Old Testament was like laying it out from the beginning of time. And so finding, more ancient sources, more ancient, and recognizing like, wow, there's actually so much evidence that goddesses were highly prioritized at a time in humanity. It blew my mind. And so then, all of a sudden this plethora opened up between like goddesses in Egypt and Greek mythology, which even learning Greek mythology in high school and junior high and stuff was so patriarchal oriented when it was taught, that I was like, I can't wait till we get through these Greek mythology like units or whatever. And I'm like, well, no wonder, because they didn't talk about any of this stuff. Yes. So, and it's amazing. And then even like, the Hindu religion and, Eastern traditions and study Taoism. There's so much. And like each one that comes forward, each goddess that I've even come in contact with, if you will, reveals something new to me about what it could mean to be me. And I think that's the most powerful part about it, is you go like, oh, wait, like Kali. I got way on this huge kick with Kali for a long time, because it's like, she just like cuts guys' heads off and wears them as a necklace. And like, she's so like ferocious, and she's all about that destroyer energy, which I have felt most of my life, tremendous pressure to put any of that away. Like you're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to like, express any of that. And then the natural cycles that women experience of like, the destroying of our, the buildup of our uterus and all that every month. Like, it's like, put that away, hide that, keep it, under wraps, don't talk about it. Times when we feel that like we're so overcome with emotion, we have to cry, or we have to just wail and let it out, or literally throw ourselves at the bottom of our closet and have a total tantrum, like feeling like that's so unacceptable. Like I would come out of experiences like that, or even around my period or anything, and just feel shame. Like, why can't I just keep my shit together, And it was Kali who was like, or you could just go cut everyone down.
Exactly. And, whoever's left standing afterwards, hey, they're meant to be in your life.
Exactly. And like, and even just the permission to feel anger. I would often lead in my coaching sessions, just like dancing in anger and like just to get it out, because so I was never giving myself that. So I feel like, you know, she's a good example. You know, even people though like Cleopatra and Isis, around sexuality and this permission to like, oh, I could actually enjoy orgasms. That's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, just so many elements I feel of unlocking parts of myself that have been so delicious and beautiful that that ultimately led me to like just I guess this place of I guess really what you said, you can't, there's no going back, and nor do I ever want to. I think that did you watch the Barbie movie, Rae?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, you absolutely must watch it. Like, it is spiritual. It is so ridiculous. You would not think that that is what it's like. But I cry every time I watch it. There's this part where all the men in the corporate Barbie office are telling her, just get back into the box and everything will go back to normal. Like, that's all you want. You just want things to go back to peace and normal and status quo. All you have to do is get back in the box. And they have a literal Barbie box, but she's life size, you know, she's like a human. And that she's like, wow, you know, and she kind of like caresses the box and is like so nostalgic. Like, I haven't been in the box and I remember what that felt like. Like, okay. And she goes and she stands in the box. And just as they're about to tie her wrists and ankles down, she's like, I just need to run to the bathroom really fast. And then they're like, I guess that's okay. And she gets out of the door and then just starts bolting. And it's so emotional because it's like, yeah, oh my gosh. Like, sometimes I want to just go back to the box. Like, there's this little box that I grew up in, and everything was black and white, and everything was so sure. And yet, like, my heart and soul were aching for something more, to try to understand, like, something feels missing all the time in my experience of life. And then when you actually go and find it, it requires that you burn the box down. And sometimes it's like, maybe it would be nice to get back in the box. But when you actually consider it, that moment where she's just literally running for her life away from the box is like, so I just relate. I'm like, nope. I
Yeah.
cannot get back in that box. And so, yeah, you know, I've received quite a lot of judgment and criticism and things for changing so dramatically. Shape shifting is another one that many goddesses and people who are close to magic and things, like, it's just a normal part of their being. And we are very discouraged from shape shifting. Like, what is a mother in her mid 30s doing, like leaving her church that she'd been, you know, in and thought she was going to raise her children in, taking her children, doing all these different things. I've also taken my children out of school, and, you know, running an online business, which has, you know, come with lots of highs and lows and difficulty and is not the traditional path. Like, what is a woman like that doing, making all these changes and creating all this like instability and, you know, things. And yet I'm like, well, you know, when I don't have everybody else's voices in my ear, me and my family are so blissed out. We're so full. Our heart is so full and happy because of this journey. So
Yes.
I can't
And
go back to the box.
no, and when you don't have all that voice, all those voices, you're stable as a family as well.
Yep.
So you bring
Yep.
that stability back, which is absolutely amazing. And hi Susie, thanks for saying hello and let us know you're here. And now the people that I can see watching, you know, please do say hello. Let us know you're here. And if you have any questions or any comments or thoughts about what Melissa's been talking about, then please feel free to share. You know, we'd love to see and hear, or love to hear from you. with what your fears are. So I want to get onto the bees. How
Yes.
did the bees come in?
Well, it was so interesting. My husband, for years, was like, I want to keep bees and I want to have honey. And we have a hobby ranch. We've had goats and chickens for probably about 10 years or something like that. And so he was like, we should add bees. And he did all these years of study and things into bees before he got the bees. And I could have cared less. I was like, great. I will be so pleased to have honey. You should definitely do that. Go right ahead. And his process is quite slower than mine. He in the sense that he likes to study and get all the information and everything. And I'm more of like a ready, fire, aim kind of a person.
Yeah. I'll work it out as I go along.
Exactly. So, I'm just like, okay, he's doing all the research and, receiving donations from people who, old bee boxes and talking to different beekeepers and things like that. Anyway, he starts the process in 2020 and has bees for a few years. We harvested one time the honey, and ultimately we're like, that was so hard. This is like harvesting the honey is so hard. And we were like, this is hard. And so he kind of, I think, lost his enthusiasm for it. And then that winter, the bees all died. And this was the winter of 2022 into 2023. And we were out, in the spring of 2023 with our animals and near the bee boxes and stuff. And I was like, we went and checked on them and saw that there was no bees there. And I was like, that's so sad. And then it was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't know if I'll keep doing it or whatever. And then it was while we were out in the yard that I felt like the bees spoke to me. And they said, your name is Melisa. We've been trying to tell you all this time. We were never on your property for him. We were here for you. All this like preparation, all the stuff that he did was really like, yeah. So it started because I started to research more about my name. And I had another friend too who was planting seeds about my name and this connection with the honeybees and like all these super cool things for years. And I was sort of like, oh, interesting, and just still couldn't fully grasp it, And so it was the beginning of spring of last year that I heard that. And I was like, oh, I had no idea. And so I was like, I want to have a relationship with the bees. So I started meditating whenever I would go out into my garden and stuff, and just like asking the bees to come to our property. My husband, when he first got bees, like bought a package of bees.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why, but I didn't feel like that was the right step. I felt like I was just supposed to meditate them. And I've since been learning a lot about natural beekeeping and stuff, and like it can be like less than ideal to purchase a package of bees. But anyway, I digress. I just was like, I'm just gonna, if they're gonna come, they're gonna come. We already have the hive box set up there. It's already full of, has some honey in it, has all the comb built in it and everything. Maybe they'll just come. Meditated like that all the way until August, and lo and behold, they literally did show up and just took a home in my hive. And I meditated them into my home, into our it was so amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. But all that time I was researching about bees and trying to understand this connection between bees and the name Melisa, which led me to learning that Melisa there were goddesses, what I want to say is priestesses that were in devotion to the goddess Artemis or Demeter in the Greek mythology kind of thing. And there's also ties everywhere in all the goddess worship about bees. There's bee symbolism everywhere. And what's crazy is many cases where a goddess was worshipped and where there was any kind of temple set up or any kind of rituals or things in place for that there was honeybee symbolism, and then a lot of times structured the way that the hive was structured. A lot of times they were kind of like each had roles, just like honeybees each have their role. Like all the different ways that they like approach the goddess were similar to how bees treat their queen. And I just couldn't believe it. And all at the same time, I'm feeling this huge call to France because of Mary Magdalene and because of my ancestors. And like, there's all these ties to the honeybee in France and like the goddess worship in France. And like, it was all connected.
As it does.
It's been amazing. So right now I'm taking a beekeeping apprenticeship with a woman named Ariella Daly. So if anybody's interested in beekeeping, go search her up. She's not very present on social media, but she's got a great email community. So you want to get into her email list. But it's kind of a different way of beekeeping. It's like because you're tying in this like deep roots of European shamanism with beekeeping, and looking more at like what is actually the best thing for the bees, not what's the easiest, most convenient thing for a beekeeper to get honey.
Yeah.
So yes, the bees, they've been such a gift to me.
Yeah, and bees are absolutely amazing, you know, and we should be doing more to protect them, you know, and keep and keep them in our life, because they do so much more than just make honey. They are natural ecosystem, and they help Gaia, and everything on there. And I've got a friend, her and husband do beekeeping as well, and it's just amazing, the stories that they come with bees, and the honey is just so amazing. It's it's so much better than the shop brought stuff. That's all I'm going to say. When you actually get honey, and it's more and it's harvested more naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the difference is: the industrial beekeeping for honey, and then the smaller natural beekeeping is so different. And I think the welfare of the bees is a lot different.
Definitely, massively. Yeah. Even just like learning little things like it's not ideal for bees to only have one kind of pollen, but many people will run, an orchard, for example, with thousands of acres of one particular crop. And then they have many bees because they know that their crop will do better when they have like a lot of pollination going on. But then those bees only have one kind of pollen. And so over time, that decreases their immune system and makes them more prone to disease and prone to the whole hive dying and things like that. And just stuff like that like you wouldn't know. I feel like the more I get to know the bees, the more I appreciate honey and what it really like. It's amazing. And to know that just like it's 1/10 of a teaspoon that one bee will contribute in their lifetime. It's like, oh gosh, this is a very precious like resource, And that's so it's kind of funny because I actually use honey less now that I'm a beekeeper than I did before. I use sugar more often. I used to use honey all the time because it's more whatever, natural, whatever, right, in my cooking and things. I would never put honey into a cake or something, for example, because that's like, you need so much honey to make the cake delicious. And I'm like, that's a lot of effort for those bees.
Exactly. And you can use things like agave nectar. There are so many plant-based natural sweeteners as well. But then if you think about it, honey was the nectar of the gods and the goddesses.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's almost become, similar to like something kind of sacred that you ingest, like you might with plant medicine, or you might with like cacao or something like. That's how I feel about the honey when I stir it into my tea, or things like that. But I feel like the bees, certainly there's all this like ancient ties to the goddess, but there's also, I think because they're so deeply connected to nature, like that's why I said, now I'm not so sure, like, is there a heavenly mother, or is she earth, or where is she? I don't know. And I can't say specifically, because who knows, but like, I do feel that something is lost by looking up and out, way away from us, for some kind of deity that's going to solve everything and is outside of us. Because my whole experience with getting to know the mother truly has been very embodied and super grounded. Like, literally, I'm more close to plants and nature, and feel like this symbiosis, like, with nature, and desire to be more connected and more thoughtful and more present with my food, and just all of that. And the bees really like convey that message, massively. And we do this sweet meditation in the apprenticeship that I learned through the apprenticeship, where you do a infinity walk. And you could do it by walking, or you could do it by just tracing, or whatever. It's a meditation, right, where you're using this symbol of infinity. And the reason is because the bees constantly are making that shape. They make it in their bee dance, they make it while they're flying. They're always making that shape. It's so crazy. You have to see, because their flight is so fast, you have to actually lay like somewhere where there's a lot of bees, or like right under the entrance of the hive, and look up. And that's when you can really see that they're always doing this. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's so cool. So it's really fun. I do this meditation, and I feel like their flight is so high vibe. Like, that seems like a funny way to say it, but I don't know how better to describe it. Like, they're going and making love with flowers all day, every day. And they're, collecting all this like pollen. They're so in like the present with it, right? Like, if you see a bee, the way they collect pollen is they go and they like bathe in it. They rub all their whole body in it. And then they go into grass and kind of like comb it down to their legs. And then they bring it into the hive. But they're like flying from flower to flower. So you have the vibration of the flowers, and then they're connecting that. And then they're doing it in such a way that it brings more life to everything around them, and potentially brings things like fruit and stuff too, right? And makes the
Yeah.
more flowers, the health of the flowers. And that's the vibration of the bees. So when we take time to tap into the energy of the bees, the vibration of the bees, it's like, it's pure love. It's definitely the highest vibration that exists on the planet. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing. And do you know something? I didn't even know that. And ever since I was younger, I actually, quite often, if I've been standing there, I will actually walk with an infinity symbol. Never even realised, that's just something I've always done when I've been bored, or, I'm
You
waiting.
knew, your DNA knew.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. I'm quite pleased with that one now.
I
So,
love that.
how did you get into the writing and then setting up Hope?
Yes. So Hope Publishing, I have founded the company. Literally, it's been 3 months. It's quite new. I started writing in 2021, and have been, like she said, published 6 different times. I love writing so much. And also helped be the CEO of another publishing company for the majority of last year. And so I founded Hope this year, really seeking to serve women who have and men too, but a lot of women who have these deep, heartfelt, soul-felt stories to share. Um, and I feel like, for one, there's so much wisdom in storytelling that we have lost as a society. And still I'll have people say, like, but why, what's the benefit of just sharing my story? Like, don't I need to teach principles or whatever? And it's like, you can teach principles, that's fine, but also, like, really, that's where the wisdom is. And I find more and more that's kind of the way of the goddess. Is it's not so much about like, this is the only prescribed path. It's, here's all these things, you find your path. And that's what stories do for us. So I love helping people to share their stories. And then I'm really seeking to do that in an integral way that actually really supports the author, really supports them spreading their message. Like, how are we actually utilizing the book to get their message out into the world? And I use actually a lot of B kind of knowledge to inform a lot of how we do that. There's, an organic reach, which really, like, it's like what I just described with the flowers and the bees. It's this like connection of your community to bring forward your message into the world. And then we of course have other like non-organic ways that we're helping spread your message and spread your book.
Yeah. Oh, that's absolutely amazing that you're actually going out and doing that to help people. So, if no one's got any questions or anything at the moment, as you know, I do guided meditations and I do angel oracle card readings, and each week I like to ask my guests whether they would like me to do a mini guided meditation or pull an angel oracle card for themselves and everyone watching. So, Melissa, what would you like?
Let's do a guided meditation.
Perfect. And in fact, what we will do, we'll do a card and a guided meditation, because we'll actually do the meditation based on what the card wants us to do a guided meditation on. So let's see where we need to take this journey today. So everyone who's watching, yeah, this is perfect. And so everyone who's watching, please do close your eyes. And if you're listening to this whilst driving, please don't do this guided meditation. Wait till you stop, because we want you to be safe. So just everyone close your eyes. And as you do so, take a deep breath in, and on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be here. Take another deep breath in. And on the out breath, just release everything that doesn't need to be in this space. And allow your breathing to fall into its natural rhythm. Every in-breath relaxing, and every out-breath releasing. And as you do, start thinking about relaxing your whole body. Think about relaxing your whole body from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, all the way down your arms to your fingertips. But when you think about relaxing, so you will relax. Give yourself permission and allow yourself to relax. And just feel the whole of your head relaxing. That relaxation moving down your face, into your jaw, down into your neck, down into your shoulders, and all the muscles in your shoulders just relaxing as if they're being bathed in beautiful warm sunshine. As that relaxation moves down into your arms, your hands, and your fingertips. Moving into your upper body, your chest, your stomach, your back, all those muscles just relaxing. As that relaxation moves down into your hips, your pelvis, your buttocks, as you sink deeper down into relaxation, as that relaxation moves down your legs all the way to your feet and your toes, and your whole body is just so relaxed. I'd like you now to imagine yourself at the top of a staircase with 5 steps. 5 steps leading down to a beautiful door. And in a moment, you're going to walk down those steps from 5 to 1, each descending number relaxing you more and more. So let's start walking down the stairs now. 5, deeper down the stairs. 4, deeper down the stairs. 3, more and more relaxed. Deeper down the stairs. 2, all the way down the stairs. 1. And you stand in front of that door and you open that door. And as you do, you step through into a beautiful wonderland, a wonderland of beautiful sunshine and flowers and trees and sunshine and blue skies. And there are butterflies and birds and bees just all flying around, each minding their own business, working in harmony with each other, just flowing. And it's like they're in such flow with life. And you find a spot to sit down on the grass and you watch. And you watch as the bees and the butterflies and the insects, you watch how they fly about. They make everything look so easy and smooth. There's so much in the flow with life. And as you watch them and you get a sense of their ease and flow and grace and the smooth sailing that is going on, you allow that energy to move into you, and you feel that energy coming all the way in as you start connecting with the flow of life, with the energy of life, the beauty of life. Doing that dance with life as the bees and the butterflies are doing. And you know that when you tap into that energy, when you tap in the energy of the bees and the butterflies and other insects, life is just plain sailing. It's smooth, everything just flows and you go through life so easily. So just for a moment, allow the energy into you. Play with it. Just allow that energy into every cell of your body so you can remember it. And you stand up and you thank the bees, the butterflies, the insects, nature for the beautiful patterns and dances they've shown you, for being here, for showing you how easy it is to flow with life. And you walk back to that door and you step through that door and you find yourself at the bottom of the stairs. And in a moment, you're going to walk up those stairs from 1 to 5. Each ascending number bringing you back to the present, to the here and now, bringing back that beautiful being in the flow of life. So coming up the stairs now, 1, coming further up the stairs, 2, further up the stairs, 3. Know that everything is going to be smooth sailing all the way up the stairs, 4, 5, all the way back. Wiggle fingers and toes, move your body, open your eyes, stretch if you need to. Make sure you are fully back, fully present, and welcome back. How you feeling?
Oh, thank you. That was so beautiful.
You're welcome. And the card that came out for you and everyone that's watching was in the flow, everything is smooth sailing, which really ties in with what we've been talking about, how when you start working with energy and how the bees make it so easy. It was just the most perfect card. And, as it is for you, Melissa, and everyone watching, everything is smooth sailing at the moment. When you get into that flow, things just really move along so smoothly. So it's absolutely beautiful that that card came out. And do let us know in the comments, how you found that guided meditation. Can you bring back that flow, that dance into your life now? So, Melissa, do you have any insights or thoughts or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
I think that probably the biggest thing I could say is if you've made it with us this far, you're likely also in pursuit of the goddess. And I would encourage you to have courage, because in the beginning, it just feels cushy and comfortable, and you feel like this validation, and it feels very good. But at some point, your heart demands that you change because of what you know. And I would just invite you to be courageous. I have been asked to change in big ways, and I wouldn't change a thing. I'm so grateful that I have continued to say yes and do it different, do life different. So be courageous. It's worth it in the end.
Beautiful, beautiful words. Thank you for that so much. So I hope everyone you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have, especially learning about the walk in the infinity symbol and the fact that bees do it all the time. I'm so happy about that. So Melissa, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that? And I understand you also have a free gift to offer as well as an invitation into your next group book.
Yes. So certainly connect with me here on Facebook. That's great. But I also have a story code activation workbook, which I've created specifically to help you, excavate those stories of wisdom that you already have in you. Every single one of us does. It's just a matter of recognizing them. It's our own perspective that makes us convey the healing codes in our story. And so go download that at www.melisakeenan.com, or you can also type in heartopenpublishing.com. And that will pop right up, Story Code Activation Workbook. And then, yes, we actually are launching, and this is my first announcement officially for the launch of the book called Hearing the Call of the Goddess. And this is for, right? This is for stories of wisdom from women who reawakened the ancient wisdom of the goddess in their DNA and transformed their lives, business, and relationships. So, I have a goal that will at least have 20 goddesses featured in the book, like true ancient goddesses, and then have 20 goddess women sharing their stories in this book, set to launch on 10/10 of this year. And this is a, obviously a great opportunity to share, if you have a relationship with a goddess and that's something that you actually help facilitate people to have an experience with, this is a great opportunity for you to share your story. People get to feel of your energy, feel of that like way that you help them activate that wisdom, and then potentially reach out to you to say, hey, like, I want more of that. I want to work with you. And that's my hope with these books, is that our authors are going out and utilizing them in ways to really spread their message that they felt called to.
Beautiful. And they can find that out on your website?
Yeah, mostly, actually, as a matter of fact, no, pretty much right now, the information is all in-house with me. So if you're interested in that, DM me and we can talk more about it. Because like I said, this is our first official announcement that this will be our next book. I'm so excited. We also have because I'm my first officially Hope published book will be launching in June. And so I'm running a big lunch party with that, where you can come in and you can have the potential to win a spot in this book. And so, definitely reach out to me if you want to be a part of the launch team and a part of that whole party. That book's called Manifesting Magical Moments. And I'm excited for those authors as well, who are right now going through the developmental editing, copy editing, and having their work really brought forward to shine so that the book can be published in June.
Beautiful. Yes, so people do check out for that, and I'll put links directly to the workbook and to connect with Melisa. I will put those links in the comments, so you can literally just click on them and go to them. And yeah, Melissa, when you do get the links for publishing and that, let me know, and I'm happy to share them
Awesome. Thank you.
on my social media as well. So thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing your wisdom, and thank you for everyone watching. And Susie, thank you so much. Oh, wonderful! It's been brilliant that you've said hello to us today. So, of course, if you are now ready to remember your divine presence and step onto your spiritual multidimensional path, but you feel lost, confused, or alone, then please feel free to connect with me and arrange a free 20-minute clarity video call where we can see where you are now and how you can move forward to take charge of your destiny so that you can spread your wings and soar. And of course, you can receive a free future life progression recording to discover your destiny by seeing into your future to get guidance and clarity that you can use in your current life, as well as a couple of other free gifts by signing up to my newsletter. And again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on the destiny just like you. And the words of wisdom that Melissa has spoken today would really help them on that path. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified of when this show goes live, or I post new guided meditations. Every time you comment on anything that either Melissa or I do, or any of my guests do, when you subscribe to YouTube or anything else, you help get our message out there. You're part of that ripple effect of bringing people together as a community and getting the messages of love, peace, hope, and wisdom out there. So thank you so much for when you do that. And I look forward to you all joining me same time, same place next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.